Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm out here shooting my go-to rifle, which is my Arsenal SGL 3194. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll probably recall having seen this sling mount. This sling mount is a quick detach mount for the rear of the AK, which is manufactured by Echo 93 or E93. This one is the prototype. It's in the white still, as you can see pretty clearly here. Let me take the QD mount off. You can see that it's in the white. So this is the prototype. I've been testing it now for 3 or 4 months, and it's actually gone to market. It's available now, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about. Historically speaking, if you've wanted to mount a QD attachment to your AK, there's been limited options available to you. I've looked at some of those options, most of which require you to drill holes into your buttstock and mount the QD plate somewhere either in the polymer or the wood. That wasn't an option for me, especially with my go-to rifle having a polymer, mostly hollow polymer stock. I needed something else. I contacted Joe at E93 and told him about my idea. It just so happened that Joe also had a similar idea about a QD mount using one of his existing V1, V2, or V3 sling mounts that attach just below the pistol grip. And so we kind of collaborated. I gave him some of my ideas and he gave me this prototype. And again, it's now available on the market. So that's what we're going to take a look at this afternoon. Let's start off talking about some of the features of the Echo 93 QD mount. Now you'll notice I'm carrying the rifle using an adjustable sling. The sling is by Savvy Sniper. E93 also sells a sling that you can pick up with the kit, and I'll show you that sling here in a second. This is my Arsenal SGL 2194. I'm sorry, SGL 3194, which is a 5.45 by 39 caliber rifle. Now this is my go-to rifle. I have it configured the way that I like it with this left-hand side folding stock that comes with the 94 series of Arsenal rifles. Now you'll notice that I have the mount on the right-hand side of the rifle, which still with the Krebs safety allows for easy operation of the safety of the rifle. You'll also notice that it carries the rifle, even with the stock folded, in the proper position. I can jump up and down, and the rifle still wants to stay in the proper position. With some sling mounting options, when you jump around and move around, it wants to carry the rifle upside down. That's true of even the standard Russian military mounts, depending on how you carry the rifle. So this rifle naturally orients itself, even with the stock folded. With the stock extended, you have the same benefit. It keeps the rifle in the right position. And that's even without the magazine in the rifle. It wants to stay properly oriented. Now with the Savvy Sniper sling that I'm using, I can adjust the sling to put slack into it so it carries lower, and I can also bring it up to fire it. I can adjust it quickly to bring it up close and keep it tight to the body. Now I have it mounted on the right-hand side of the rifle for a reason. First of all, I have an optics rail on the left-hand side of this rifle. Right here. I can put the mount on this side, however, if I do that, it will prevent me from putting an optic on this rifle. It'll block access to the rail. Now, the Russians, here's a standard Russian sling mount. The Russians have traditionally mounted their slings on the right-hand side of the rifle. The difference being between the Russian mount and the E93 mount, QD mount, is that when I fold the stock, it doesn't move the sling mount position to the opposite side of the rifle. This is what makes the rifle want to orient itself upside down with the stock folded. You don't have that issue when you mount the E93 on the right-hand side of the receiver. Now, if you have an AK that doesn't have that sight rail, or if you just like the way that it works, you can mount it on that side again with or without that sight rail. Now, this mount system will not work with an underfolding stock or a stock that folds to the side that you mount it with, obviously. To install it just takes a couple of minutes. And all you have to do is remove your pistol grip, set the plate on the rifle, put the grip back on, tighten it down, and you're good to go. So with the QD mounts, you can quickly take off the sling. That's what I like. Put them back on. These are quarter turn mounts, so I can't rotate this very much at all. It keeps the rifle oriented. Once you lock it into a position, it'll stay in that approximate position. Another thing with the QD mount, and I'll show you this with the E93 sling, is if you like a single point attachment, you can attach, if your sling is configured to do so, the rifle as a single point simply by moving that mount from the front to the single point attachment on the rear. Let me show you what that looks like with the E93 sling. This is the Echo 9.3 mount. You can see the E93 here using the production QD mount. I'll show you what that looks like. Here's the production mount. You'll notice it has a nice even color, matches the rifle perfectly. You can see how it mounts simply by attaching underneath the pistol grip. The E93 mount, or the E93 sling, will come with an HK hook in the front. Let me show you how that works. So I can carry the rifle like I was showing you earlier with the Savvy Sniper sling. I can use it as I normally would as a 2-point sling, or I can undo this HK hook in the front, move it over here to the single point mount in the rear, and now I have a single point set up for the AK. And again, you can run this on either side of the rifle. You can put the mount on the right hand or the left hand side of the rifle. To return it to a 2-point, all you have to do is relocate that front hook, and you're back to a 2-point setup. Here are the two mounts side by side, the prototype here and the final production mount. As you can see, there's very little difference between the two, the only real difference being the finish that's been applied to the production mount. And this is the mount that I've been testing for several months. This mount is extremely durable. You can stand on it, jump on it, you're not going to crush it. So once you mount it onto the rifle, you're going to find it's a very durable, strong mount to use. Let's talk about the production model. You can see the dimensions of it, how closely it fits to the receiver. And it has the QD hole here. You'll also notice that it says E93 and Mac on it. Now, Joe, the owner of E93, put Mac on here as a thank you to me because we collaborated on the design and I helped to test it. I have no financial interest in E93 or in this particular mount. I get no percentage of the sales. He just did that as a thank you to me. I now run these on all of my AKs that I shoot regularly. As I mentioned, to install it, all you have to do is remove your pistol grip, which is simple to do with a screwdriver, pop the pistol grip off, lay the plate on. It's a universal mount. It'll mount right or left hand side. Just orient it the way that you want it on the rifle. Screw your pistol grip back on, and it's in place. An added benefit is that it will act as a reinforcement plate on the receiver, which many of the Arsenal rifles don't have. It will also work on rifles that do have a reinforcement plate, so you don't have to worry about it. If you have a reinforcement plate, this mount system will work with that rifle as well. All right, guys, some final thoughts on the V3 QD mount from Echo 9.3. I like this mount quite a bit. I have it on all the AKs that I use regularly now. I helped to test this mount system. I gave Joe some of my ideas in the development phase, so obviously I'm going to like it because he built it to my specs, or partially to my specs. Again, he had some of his own ideas, and after testing it for several months, I really like it. It's exactly what I was looking for in a QD mount system for the AK rifle. Now, as I mentioned, this isn't going to work with all the AKs out there. If you have any questions, you can ask those questions on our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/militaryarms. It doesn't work with all AKs, but it'll work with most. And again, you can ask some questions if you have a particular AK, and I'll try to answer those questions on the Facebook page. At $38.95, I think it's a pretty good deal. You'll have to buy a sling to go with it and QD mounts to go with it, obviously. That's just the attachment point. But overall, I don't think it's unreasonably priced. If you guys have any questions about the vest that I'm wearing, I'm going to get a lot of questions, I know. This is from UW Gear, and I'll put a link to their website down below as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for those subs, and we'll talk to you guys soon.